Today I just want to give a little introduction of some terminology that's used when working on resin kits, just so we have like a common dialogue to work with while I'm working on it. So for example, these I would call sprues or resin pour spouts or something. This stuff along the edge is called flashing or flash. It's same thing like this stuff right here, that's flash. All right, this would be the seam line. Thing that goes around here. We've got a seam on this guy too, right here. Now what I don't really see on these kits, because they're poured so well, is pitting. And pitting is when it looks like you have a bunch of little pock marks along the surface or along the edges, and that is caused by rubber that didn't have the air removed from it. What happens is as the resin's curing, it heats up, and it heats up the rubber around it. So if there's air bubbles in the rubber, the air expands because it's heated and consequently pushes into the resin. So what you end up with is a bunch of little dimples or pock marks, but I don't have any of those. On here, there's a little bubble on the corner there. I guess there's not really a name for that, just a bubble. And what I also find, or what I'm looking for, I don't really see a ton of them, but sometimes like on the surface area that's right below the pour sprues or the pour spout, whatever you want to call it, there's little bubbles right below the surface, like there's a skin of resin and then bubbles below them. I call those subcutaneous bubbles. So that's it. So let's get to work. First thing I'm going to do is pretty typical for a kit like this, where there's sprues, pour spouts. I like to just use wire clippers and I just cut these right off. As close as I can to the body. Okay, so this is a good reveal. Here you can see there's a giant bubble right there. This was actually one of the first pieces I cast, and when I cast it, I didn't notice that there was like a gap here where air bubbles could form. So what I did in future ones where it doesn't have this problem is I knew to move the mold around a little bit so that any air bubble that was caught here would flow over to the sprue and head out. Just gonna cut the rest of these off. Now you'll notice it's not going all the way down flat. There's still some filing to be done here. This is really just a first step in the process. So this one has those subcutaneous bubbles. All right, that's all the sprues. My next step is to go in with a drum wheel on the Dremel tool and knock those down much flatter.